Did you know there's a 1955 Mercedes that sold for $143 million? That's not a typo. With that money, you could buy 70 new Rolls-Royce Phantoms and still have change left over. While most cars lose half their value the second they leave the showroom, these legendary machines did something completely opposite. They became more valuable than entire buildings, more expensive than private jets, more sought after than almost any investment on Earth. What made them so extraordinarily expensive? Racing victories, extreme rarity, engineering brilliance, and heritage that money simply can't replicate. Today, we're counting down the 12 most expensive cars ever built. Machines that prove the best investments have engines. Let's get started. Number 12. Jaguar XJ220, 1992. Starting at number 12, we have the Jaguar XJ220, which launched in 1992 with an eye-watering price tag of $650,000. Adjusted for inflation, that's roughly $1.4 million in today's money, more expensive than a Ferrari F40 and Porsche 959 combined. But here's where it gets interesting. Jaguar promised buyers a V12 with all-wheel drive, then delivered a twin-turbo 3.5-liter V6, making 542 horsepower with rear-wheel drive. The controversy was massive, lawsuits were filed, and some buyers refused delivery. Plot twist? The V6 version was actually faster. This British beast hit 213 miles per hour, making it the world's fastest production car when it debuted, and rocketed to 60 in just 3.6 seconds. The 16-foot-long body weighed only 3,241 pounds, thanks to aluminum construction and composite panels. Inside, there was no power steering, minimal sound insulation, and a driving position that felt more fighter jet than luxury car. This wasn't meant to be comfortable. It was a road-legal race car. Only 275 units were built, and despite all the initial drama, the XJ220 aged beautifully. Cars that traded hands for $300,000 in the late 90s now command $500,000 to $600,000 at auction. Why? Because collectors eventually realized Jaguar had built something genuinely special, a car that prioritized performance over promises. When you've got the speed record and the rarity, controversy becomes character. And trust me, controversy is just the beginning of this expensive journey. Number 11. Porsche 959, 1986 to 1993. At number 11, we've got the Porsche 959, and here's something wild. This car cost Porsche $300,000 to build, but they sold it for only $225,000. Yes, Porsche lost 75 grand on every single unit just to get this technology showcase into customers' hands. Between 1986 and 1993, they built 337 examples, and today those same cars sell for $1.5 to $2 million. That's one hell of an appreciation curve. What made the 959 worth losing money on? Revolutionary technology, that's what. The 2.85-liter twin-turbo flat-six produced 444 horsepower with sequential turbocharging that eliminated lag. Technology that wouldn't become mainstream for another 20 years. It featured adjustable ride height, tire pressure monitoring in 1986, and a sophisticated all-wheel drive system with driver-selectable torque split. This was science fiction made real. Performance numbers were equally insane. 60 arrived in 3.7 seconds, while top speed hit 197 miles per hour, making it the world's fastest production car at launch. The body combined Kevlar and aluminum for strength and lightness, though the 3,190-pound curb weight reflected all that advanced tech. Inside, you got leather seats, air conditioning, and a proper stereo, proof that supercar performance didn't require race car sacrifices. Originally developed for Group B rally racing, the 959 became a road car when Group B was cancelled. Development costs exceeded $100 million in 1980s money, absolutely staggering. But Porsche's investment gave the automotive world technologies that became standard decades later. Sometimes the most expensive cars to build become the most valuable to own, but we're just getting started on this expensive climb. Number 10. Mercedes-Benz CLK GTR, 1998. Number 10 is where things get properly mental. The Mercedes-Benz CLK GTR wasn't a road car inspired by racing. It was literally their Le Mans race car, with minor modifications to make it street legal. Mercedes charged $1.5 million and built exactly 25 examples because homologation rules required it. Not 24, not 26. Exactly what the rules demanded, and not one more. Underneath that aggressive carbon body lived a 6.9-liter naturally aspirated V12 cranking out 612 horsepower, screaming to redline with a sound that could wake the dead. 60 came up in 3.8 seconds, while top speed reached 214 miles per hour if you had the nerve. But numbers don't capture the savagery of actually driving this thing. Racing suspension, a sequential gearbox, virtually zero sound insulation. This was unfiltered motorsport violence with license plates. The interior was pure race car, carbon fiber everywhere, non-adjustable bucket seats, and controls yanked straight from the GT1 racer. Air conditioning and a radio existed, but they felt like someone's half-hearted attempt at civilization. The 3,197-pound weight was impressively light, considering the V12 and structural beef needed for road legality. Mercedes built this to dominate Le Mans, and the road version existed purely because regulations said it had to. Here's the beautiful part. Mercedes lost money on every CLK GTR sold. That $1.5 million price tag didn't cover actual costs. They built these for glory, not profit. Today, CLK GTRs trade for $4 to $5 million, proving that racing pedigree always appreciates. When you own an actual Le Mans weapon with plates, you're not buying a car, you're buying history. And the history only gets more expensive from here. Number 9. Bugatti EB110 Supersport, 1992 to 1995. At number 9 sits a car that nearly bankrupted Bugatti, but created something absolutely spectacular in the process. The EB110 Supersport, built from 1992 to 1995, cost $475,000 when new and represented early 90s engineering at its absolute cutting edge. This was Bugatti's comeback statement, and they weren't playing it safe. The engine alone was insane, a 3.5-liter quad turbocharged V12 making 603 horsepower, 4 turbochargers, on a V12 in 1992. The complexity was borderline stupid, but the results were spectacular. 60 arrived in 3.2 seconds, while top speed hit 221 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest cars of its era. All-wheel drive, still rare for supercars back then, put that power down through a carbon fiber monocoque chassis borrowed from Formula One technology. Despite the complex drivetrain, the EB110 Supersport weighed just 3,571 pounds. The interior mixed leather and aluminum beautifully, offering surprising refinement for something this violent. Scissor doors opened upward in proper supercar fashion, while the angular, aggressive design screamed early 90s excess. The V12 sat under a glass cover, letting everyone see that 4-turbo masterpiece doing its work. Only 31 Supersport examples were built before Bugatti went bankrupt in 1995. The EB110 project consumed massive resources, and when the supercar market crashed, Bugatti couldn't survive. Beautiful irony. Those rare EB110 Supersports now sell for $2 to $3 million, proving the car was simply ahead of its time. Sometimes being too advanced costs you everything, until collectors realize what you actually built. But this isn't even close to the most valuable machine on our list. Number 8. Jaguar D-Type, 1954 to 1957. Number 8 brings us British racing excellence in its purest form. The Jaguar D-Type, built from 1954 to 1957, saw only 75 examples produced, and the rarest factory works team cars have sold for over $21 million at auction. When new, these cost around £4,000, laughable compared to today's values. This was Jaguar's Le Mans weapon, and it was devastatingly effective. Under that elongated hood sat a 3.4-liter inline-six, producing 250 horsepower, which sounds modest today, but was more than enough in the 50s. The real genius was construction and aerodynamics. The D-Type featured a monocoque central structure with aircraft-inspired design, making it incredibly light at 2,100 pounds and extremely rigid. Top speed reached 169 miles per hour, while 60 arrived in around 4.7 seconds. Phenomenal for the mid-1950s. The D-Type won Le Mans 3 consecutive times from 1955 to 1957, cementing its motorsport legacy forever. That distinctive headrest fairing behind the driver wasn't styling. It improved aerodynamics and stability at high speeds down the Mulsanne Straight. Factory Works team cars with documented race history command the highest prices, but even customer cars are worth millions. What makes the D-Type special beyond racing success is its influence on automotive design. Aerodynamic principles used here influenced car design for decades. Monocoque construction became racing standard. Even the colors, British racing green or Écurie Écossais blue, are legendary. D-Types rarely come to market, and when they do, collectors battle fiercely. This is British racing glory you can own if you've got 8 figures lying around, but the prices keep climbing. Number 7. Aston Martin DBR1, 1956 to 1959. At number 7, we've got something even rarer, the Aston Martin DBR1. Only 5 were ever built between 1956 and 1959, making them rarer than almost any Ferrari or Jaguar racer. One sold at auction in 2017 for $22.5 million, setting the record for the most expensive British car ever sold. When new, these cost about £5,000, absolutely nothing compared to current values. The DBR1 was Aston Martin's answer to Ferrari and Jaguar dominance, and it worked spectacularly. Under the hood lived a 2.9-liter inline-six, making approximately 250 horsepower, providing adequate power when combined with lightweight construction. The entire car weighed just 1,830 pounds, giving exceptional power-to-weight ratio and handling that allowed it to compete with more powerful rivals on twisty circuits. Top speed reached around 160 miles per hour, while 60 came up in approximately 5.2 seconds. Respectable numbers prioritizing handling over straight-line speed. What made the DBR1 legendary was 1959, when it won both Le Mans and the World Sports Car Championship, giving Aston Martin their greatest racing triumphs. Roy Salvadori and Carroll Shelby drove the winning car at Le Mans, creating history. The DBR1's value comes from multiple factors: extreme rarity, with only 5 examples, victories at the highest level, beautiful David Brown-era design, and documented racing provenance. Each of the 5 DBR1s is accounted for, residing in private collections or museums. They represent British engineering excellence, proving you didn't need the biggest engine to win. You needed the best overall package, and that package is now worth over $20 million. Number 6. Ferrari 250 Testa Rossa, 1957 to 1961. Number 6 brings us to Ferrari royalty. The 250 Testa Rossa, built from 1957 to 1961, saw only 34 examples produced, and one sold at auction in 2011 for $16.4 million. More recent private sales have reportedly exceeded $40 million, making this one of the most valuable Ferraris ever created. The name Testa Rossa means redhead in Italian, referring to the red-painted cam covers on the V12. Under that gorgeous Scaglietti-designed body sat a 3.0-liter V12 producing approximately 300 horsepower, tuned specifically for endurance racing. The Testa Rossa was built to dominate Le Mans and long-distance events, and dominate it did. Between 1958 and 1961, it won the World Sports Car Championship 4 consecutive times, an achievement that cemented legendary status forever. Top speed reached around 170 miles per hour, while 60 came up in approximately 5.9 seconds. Impressive for late 50s engineering. The 1,840-pound curb weight made it remarkably light, giving exceptional handling on the challenging circuits of that era. Those distinctive pontoon fenders and aggressive front-end design became iconic, representing Ferrari's racing heritage at its absolute peak. What makes the Testa Rossa so valuable isn't just rarity or racing success, it's everything combined. These cars represent Ferrari's golden era, when Enzo Ferrari was personally involved in development and racing was truly dangerous and heroic. Each Testa Rossa has documented racing history, often with multiple victories and famous drivers. Provenance adds millions to the value. You're not just buying a car, you're buying motorsport history that can never be replicated. But we're about to enter truly mythical territory. Number 5. Ferrari 250 GTO, 1962 to 1964. Welcome to number 5, where cars become liquid assets worth more than most people's houses. The Ferrari 250 GTO, built from 1962 to 1964, is the most valuable car in the world. Only 36 examples were built, and in 2018, one sold privately for $70 million. $70 million for a car. Let that sink in. This isn't automotive collecting anymore. This is financial insanity. When new, the 250 GTO cost around $18,000, which adjusted for inflation is roughly $180,000 today. For that, you got a 3.0-liter V12 making 300 horsepower, racing pedigree from day one, and bodywork by Sergio Scaglietti, considered among the most beautiful ever created. Top speed hit 174 miles per hour, absolutely staggering for 1962, while 60 came up in 6.1 seconds when most cars couldn't break 10 seconds. The 250 GTO was built for GT racing and dominated completely. Between 1962 and 1964, GTOs won the international championship for GT manufacturers multiple times, proving performance in actual competition. The 2,116-pound curb weight gave exceptional power-to-weight ratio for the era, but racing success alone doesn't explain $70 million valuations. Here's the truth. 250 GTOs regularly trade for $40 to $70 million among private collectors. They're not bought as cars anymore. They're bought as financial instruments that happen to have engines and gorgeous Italian bodywork. The combination of racing success, extreme rarity, and timeless beauty created perfect desirability. Ferrari themselves can't afford to buy back their own 250 GTOs at current prices. Every single GTO is accounted for, tracked, and valued. Their automotive royalty and their prices keep climbing. But believe it or not, there are even more expensive machines than this. Number 4, Ferrari 335S Spider Scaglietti 1957. At number 4 sits a Ferrari so rare, only 4 examples were ever built in 1957. The 335S Spider Scaglietti represents the absolute pinnacle of 50s racing excellence, and in 2016, chassis 0674 sold at auction in Paris for $35.7 million. But here's the thing. Experts believe if one came to auction today, it would likely exceed $50 million based on current market trends for top-tier Ferraris. Under the curvaceous Scaglietti bodywork lived a 4.1-liter V12, producing approximately 390 horsepower, absolutely massive for 1957 and one of the most powerful Ferrari racing engines of that era. Top speed reached around 186 miles per hour, while 60 came up in approximately 5.5 seconds. The 1,760-pound curb weight meant the power-to-weight ratio was exceptional, giving incredible performance on the racing circuits of the late 50s. The 335S competed in the most prestigious endurance races including Le Mans, Mille Miglia, and Sebring. Racing pedigree is impeccable, with legendary drivers like Luigi Musso, Peter Collins, and Wolfgang von Trips piloting these machines. 335S finished second at the 1957 24 Hours of Le Mans and also won the Mille Miglia that same year before that race was permanently cancelled following a tragic accident. What makes the 335S worth $35 million and climbing? Perfect combination of extreme rarity with only 4 examples, enormous racing success at the highest levels, the most powerful Ferrari racing engine of the 50s, gorgeous Scaglietti coachwork, and documented period racing history. Each of the 4 335S Spiders is accounted for with known ownership and racing records. These aren't just cars, they're investments appreciating faster than almost any other asset class. But we've still got 3 even more expensive machines to go. Number 3, Aston Martin DBR12 1956. Number 3 brings us to an Aston Martin even rarer than the DBR1. The DBR12, built in 1956, is essentially a one-off prototype that bridged the gap between the earlier DB3S and the legendary DBR1. This unique machine sold at auction in 2017 as part of a collection for approximately $22.5 million, though its individual value within that sale is debated by experts. Only one example exists, making it the rarest Aston Martin racer ever. Under the hood sat a 2.9-liter in inline-six, producing around 250 horsepower, similar to the standard DBR1, but with experimental specifications that informed the final DBR1 design. The car raced at major events including Sebring and helped develop the technology that would win Aston Martin the 1959 World Championship. The lightweight construction, around 1,800 pounds, gave it competitive performance against more powerful rivals. Top speed reached approximately 160 miles per hour, while acceleration to 60 came in around 5.0 seconds, impressive for mid-50s engineering. The bodywork featured distinctive Aston Martin styling, with aerodynamic improvements learned from their earlier racing programs. The racing history, while not as decorated as the later DBR1, remains significant in Aston Martin's development story. What makes the DBR1-2 so valuable is simple. Only one exists. You can't buy another, ever. It's a crucial link in Aston Martin's racing heritage, a prototype that informed one of the greatest racing cars ever built. For collectors seeking ultimate exclusivity, you literally cannot get rarer than this. But we're about to see some truly astronomical numbers that make 22 million look almost reasonable. Number 2, Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe, 1955. Now we enter truly mythical territory. The Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe is one of only 2 examples ever built in 1955, and in May 2022, chassis 00008 sold at private auction for $143 million. $143 million. That's not a misprint. This shattered every previous record by an absolutely enormous margin, making it the most expensive car ever sold in history. Under the hood sat a 3.0-liter inline-8, making approximately 302 horsepower, derived directly from Mercedes' Formula One engine. Top speed reached an astonishing 180 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest road-legal cars of the 50s, while 60 came up in approximately 6.9 seconds. The 2,420-pound curb weight gave fantastic handling that made it genuinely thrilling to drive, according to those few lucky enough to experience it. The car was named after Rudolf Uhlenhaut, Mercedes' chief engineer, who used one as his personal company car and regularly drove it at high speeds on the Autobahn between Stuttgart and Munich. Imagine using a priceless racing coupe as your daily driver. That's the confidence Mercedes possessed in the 50s. The design was essentially a coupe version of the 300 SLR race car with gullwing doors and stunning proportions. What makes the Uhlenhaut Coupe worth $143 million? Simple math. Only 2 exist. They were never sold to the public. One remains in Mercedes' museum and will never be sold, and the other just became the most expensive car in history. The combination of extreme rarity, racing pedigree, Mercedes' golden era engineering, and the Uhlenhaut name created the perfect storm. This isn't just a car, it's automotive history that can never be replicated. But somehow, based on pure rarity, there's one car that might be even more significant. Number 1, Ferrari 250 GT California Spider SWB, 1960 to 1963. At number 1, we've got a Ferrari so desirable that even A-list Hollywood stars couldn't resist it. The Ferrari 250 GT California Spider SWB, built from 1960 to 1963, represents the absolute pinnacle of 60s automotive glamour. Only 56 examples were ever built, and one sold at auction in 2016 for $18.15 million. Private sales have reportedly exceeded $25 million, making this one of the most valuable open-top Ferraris ever created. When new, these cost around $14,000, laughable compared to today's values. Under that endless hood sat Ferrari's legendary 3.0-liter Colombo V12, producing 280 horsepower. Top speed reached 155 miles per hour, while 60 came up in just 6.7 seconds. Phenomenal for the early 60s. The 2,315-pound curb weight gave razor-sharp handling on both road and track. Ferrari designed this specifically for wealthy American clients who wanted open-air driving with racing performance. Several California Spiders competed in period races including Le Mans and various GT championships. The design by Pininfarina and Scaglietti is absolutely timeless. Those swooping lines and covered headlights define 60s Italian elegance perfectly. What makes the California Spider SWB worth $25 million? Extreme rarity with only 56 examples, racing pedigree at major events, gorgeous Pininfarina coachwork, and Hollywood celebrity connections. James James Coburn owned one. Steve McQueen desperately wanted one. These were status symbols for the cultural elite of the 1960s. Every single California Spider is accounted for and tracked. They rarely come to auction, trading privately among elite collectors. This isn't just a car, it's 60s Hollywood glamour combined with Ferrari racing excellence. That's why it sits at number 1. So there you have it, detectives. The 12 most expensive old cars ever built, from early Jaguars to a $143 million Mercedes to the car that started Rolls-Royce itself. What's fascinating isn't just the prices, though those are absolutely mind-blowing. It's what these machines represent: racing glory, engineering brilliance, and heritage that money simply cannot replicate today. These legends prove the best automotive investments aren't always the newest, flashiest machines. Sometimes they're the ones with history, rarity, and stories that transcend generations. Thanks for watching. Some cars aren't just transportation, they're rolling fortunes that outlive us all.